Hey gang, welcome back to another episode of No Country for Otakus. And we're here again, talking about another anime, as usual. Dwayne's out this week. Dwayne's out this week, unfortunately he's still sick. Can't talk, so I have to suck it up again, my awkward behavior, and go ahead and do another episode for you. This week we're talking about 86, the 86 anime. It's a mecha anime. Trying to get the actual correct date. It came out in 2021 and ended in 2022. It did 12 episodes. Then it took like a winter break. Then it came back in the spring and like May, I think, if I remember correctly. And they finished off the rest of the anime. 23 episodes with 4 special editions. Special editions were just panel discussions talking about the anime. The studio working on it is A1 Studios, written by Toshiya Ono and directed by Toshimasa Ishii. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly. And definitely a good anime, man. It's a mecha. We'll get into it. Let's run that intro. All right, so 86, guys. I haven't done a mecha in a while. The last mecha we did was Alt Noah, I believe, and y'all know how we feel about that here at the No Country for Otakus show. Definitely did not like that anime. Definitely did not like that anime. But we're back here. It's been a while. I used to really be into mecha, cause that Gundam Wing got me in that bitch. Once I watched Gundam Wing and I watched Endless Waltz and all that stuff, I was all about Gundam, all about mecha. I started watching them religiously, but just like how I feel like the market got oversaturated with mecha, and I fell off. I got bored with it. I think around like Blood Brothers, I kind of started to waver watching those. I used to watch other stuff, but it was like a lot of mecha. And then I haven't watched much since. I'm starting to hit that wall with Isekai. And man, I go through phases of interest. At one point when I was younger, I used to like the harem stuff, but I kind of find those kind of annoying now. I think some slice of life anime now is starting to keep me going, so I'm starting to feel those a little bit. So I think I'm slowly rolling into there. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. So small review, summary. Pretty much it follows this major at the beginning. The first half it follows a major, Vladilena or Lena. We'll just go with Lena. And she takes over the squad of soldiers that actually work the mecha stuff called 86ers, right? And she is the officer of a place called the Republic. Now, the weird thing about this Republic is like everyone has God damn it. Everyone has this color here. This is not a good picture. Alright, so that's real small. Anyway, you can't really see it properly, but the white here behind, everyone has that color here, like all the citizens. And anyone that has different color here, she's close, but anyone like that, they're considered the other. So it's pretty much Nazi Germany. They were using them as counter fodder to fight against these mechanized autonomous robots, right? Units that are attacking them constantly from another nation that, as their last resort, kicked them off and stuff. And you find out more about that in pretty much the second half of the story. So after she takes over this 86er squadron, she realized that they're acting distant to her because they've had other commanders and they all treat them like shit, man. And you know, they're pretty much racist to them. Or if you're Jewish, treat them like Jewish. If black, white people treat them black people, shit like that. they're pretty much treating them like shit. They're just using them pretty much as just soldiers to fight this war, but they didn't really care about them. But she was the only one that, she was the first one that actually tried to get to know them and stuff. And you know, they acting all distant and stuff. And as time goes on, they start to open up and stuff like that. But she's actually inside the city on these like Neuralink stuff with like earpieces and stuff with the thing. So the main character here, Shine, they call him the Undertaker because he's been there from like the beginning of the unit. He's a veteran at this point. They're still kids, and he's seen everyone die. And when they die, he takes their dog chains and then he carves their name into his mecha. And he's pretty much, he says he's promised to take them to the promised land, which is pretty much just freedom, right? And the story just follows this unit, and they losing people at rapid rate and stuff, being supported by this major that's actually trying everything in her power to help, despite everyone inside the city against pretty much like, where the fuck you working so hard to get them? And then you get the mid-season break, and then the second half, it pretty much just follows the unit, but they go ahead and pretty much like leave her in a way to go ahead to finish fight some more, and then they end up getting they end up working with another another yeah, it's kind of like a kingdom, another nation that take him in. They're still trying to act funny. They're like, oh man, they're the 86ers, but they all not like all pure silver hair people, right? And it's kind of weird. And so he gets, they get their own squad, and then they go deeper into enemy lines, and that's when you start to find out more about what actually the enemy is, how they keep getting their numbers like that. Why do you realize that some of them have like remnants of personalities? You can hear voices through like the radios and stuff. You find out how that happens, stuff like that. It's a really interesting story with a lot of layers, and I really enjoy it. So we can go ahead and jump into the story segment now. So this review is going to be a little quicker. Not trying not to give too much away here, but when it comes to this anime, man, the story is, there's a lot of stuff. It's not just mecha fights, you know. The problem with a lot of mecha is it's the same formula. It's rebellion, rebels got like these fucking sick ass Gundams and shit like that, and they end up fighting, and then you obviously have someone on the enemy at that point, or the group oppressing or causing the causing people to rebel side, and they have like a guy, and he has like a special mecha, and there's a bunch of regular soldiers and shit mecha. They getting wrecked and stuff like that. This one's a little different because you don't really get much at the beginning, especially the first 12, 13 episodes. You don't really get much on the enemy. You just know the autonomous mechs, and they're coming through, and they just keep like waves, right? And you tend to focus a little more on the unit, the 86 unit, which is the Undertaker and his people. And then you start to realize that within this unit, why they call him the Undertaker, and you start to realize that these kids, man, kid soldiers, and like they just sending these people out over and over. Then you realize, then the story goes into what they don't really tell you exactly why they started treating them like that. I think it's because because of what happened to the other nation. They were like, you know, almost like an immigration mixing, and it was like, oh man, it's their fault. They start blaming them, and then they like took them out and put them into camps to just fight for them and shit like that. So you had that going on. The major talking to her friend, trying to get the Neuralink and stuff working properly, because her dad was against it. He used to take her out when she was a kid to go to the places where they have the 86ers and stuff like that, and show him. He's like, dude, this shit ain't right, you know. And then he dies, so she grew up with that instilled in her, which played a part in why she was treating her new unit like this. And she went above and beyond. Like, you know, she got chewed out by superior colonels and shit because she was trying to do stuff for them. She didn't give a fuck. So shout out for Major for going the extra mile for that. Let's go ahead and do some stuff here. Yeah, so as you can see in the little video we got going on down here, you can see how everyone has the same color hair, the same color eyes, shit like that. It's almost like Jeanette. But then everyone that has different, and they don't fight. They all just stay inside the wall. So what's crazy is that, and that's her friend, and then you start to realize that a lot of them start to feel guilty for what they've done. They consider them drones, but they're not drones. They're humans working the stuff out there. I thought this was very powerful, especially when you actually get introduced to the 86th unit. You realize they're just a bunch of kids being forced to fight in a war, you know. And they're dying left and right. They're dying left and right, not to laugh and shit like that. So, I thought that was pretty crazy. So a lot of the first half was dealing with her. She was calling in the evenings at the same time and talk to them, and they had no respect for them. They used to draw them as pigs on the wall and shit like that. Yeah, you see like the pig there in the video. But yeah, she used to calling every night and talk and stuff, you know, and she got real close to them even in the battles and stuff. But they were so experienced that even though she was there, they really didn't really listen to her much. But she lost a lot of people in like her first couple battles. It was just like she almost lost her shit. Like, but she stuck with it, man, and until they defeated the mid-season finale boss. I don't want to give it away, so I ain't gonna tell you who it is. It has a special connection to the Undertaker. So that's how the first session is. Now the second session, they go on to fight. They go out behind enemy lines, so outside of her nation's pretty much like area of combat, and they go out to fight, to go further to try to stop them, and then they get wrecked. And then they get saved by this other nation, and the leader of that nation pretty much tries to adopt them and stuff, try to get that thing out their head, you know, indoctrination of just battle and stuff. But they're soldiers, man, so they end up joining the military, but they try to go in as recruits. They try to go in as officers. What's funny about that is that they don't treat them as brutally as that nation with the silver hair treats them, but they still treat them somewhat at like arm's length. Like they'll talk, hey man, you hanging out with those 86ers, man, they're nothing but killers, you know, because people stupid. So yeah, this guy on the screen, he's the one that I think he's the one that pretty much adopts them. And then they get introduced to this other character, female character. She just crossed the screen a little bit there. In her case, she was like princess of the kingdom that last resort released the automated bots. I'm gonna stop right there. She has a big role to play in this girl right here. She has a big role to play in this, but she's still a kid, so you know she gets attached and stuff. They have a bigger unit, stuff like that. You find out what happened to the previous nation that they left. So it's interesting to see that. I'm really trying to navigate without giving away too much here, and I think they did a really good job. There's a lot more battles in this part in the second season, but with that, it didn't take away the story from the characters. The Undertaker dealing with PTSD and being fighting with his identity with becoming battle drunk and stuff like that. They do pull away from the major a little bit in the second season, which was kind of a letdown. But they wanted to focus more on the younger girl and the Confederacy and stuff like that, and obviously the different enemies they want to fight. Now, The story isn't wrapped up at the end of the 23 episodes, unfortunately. What I read is that once you finish the 23 episodes, you gotta go straight into finishing the rest of the light novels. I'm hoping that they bring on a third season to continue, but you know, an anime, man, it's hit or miss all most of the time if it's not like a big one like fucking One Piece or some shit, you know? Like it's something's hard to continue on. So that being said, go ahead and bring the pictures up. And that's the crew. So that's the Major, that's the Undertaker there, there's the rest of the pretty much the rest of the team. These are main characters because everyone else dies. And I think it ended pretty good. It was a really good final fight. And with the final fight, it also was able to resolve some stuff with some of the characters, with the princess girl, reintroducing the Major stuff. So it did really well, and I really think out of all the mecha I've watched in a long time, this is probably one of the strongest mecha anime I've seen in years. It took to 2021, 2022, huh? So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and give it a rating for the story. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5. I had a blast. The most I have to think is I kind of wish that we saw more from the Major's point of what happened to her nation after all the remaining 86ers left and the automated bots came running up in that bitch. I would have liked to see some more. Now the thing about it is since I haven't read the light novel, we don't know if it continued on, and when you continue on, if they did a flashback, you know, because after she rejoins them at the end of the season, you never really had a real conversation with her, so you don't know like if they continue on in the light novel. If they go into a flashback, she explains what happened on her end. So it's not fair, but just for the animation alone, right now as it is, I kind of would like to know what happened there, and it was a little sad that she wasn't more in the second season. But I understand why, so I ain't gonna knock it for it. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. All right, thank you for listening to my ramble. We're gonna go ahead and jump into characters. We had 4 pictures. Characters. Like I said in the story section there, man, the characters in the show play a vital role, because you realize that the main guy, the Undertaker, and his role in this thing, so every character that dies is another trauma in his thing as the leader of this unit on the ground, right? And then to introduce the Major and knowing how everyone from the Republic acts towards them, and to have someone so compassionate and stuff, and then, you know, she losing a bunch of people and they're not used to the officers acting that way, and then the bond and stuff like that being built as they lose more and more people to this autonomous robot. Then you start to find out about the Undertaker's ties to the robot, to the autonomous mechs and stuff like that, and then it starts to just keep, it's just layers, and you're just like, God, man, and because of your connection to a lot of the characters, even in just 23 episodes, you start to realize, look, man, I can feel some weight. And then even after that, you know, you ask, it's like, why they treating them like that? And then they do like the small, like there was the Major's friend. She was like the IT girl, and she was talking to her, and then she gives her story about the day that they started ripping the kids out of the schools and stuff to put them in the camps and shit. And you start to realize how she felt guilty and stuff. And even just a small side character like that made a really significant impact on the story and your reaction to different characters and stuff. Because then you start to realize that a lot of these people that acting like that towards these people fortunately grew up as kids being indoctrinated and pretty much like how racism is in real life. It's that, you know, it's not born racist, you're taught, and a lot of these kids taught. So that's why when they become adults and they start interacting with them as military commanders and shit, they were treating them like trash, calling them drones and shit, even though they were actual people driving these fucking machines, you know. So it was hard to watch, especially as a person of color. But no, it's not hard to watch. It was, yeah, it was tough to watch because I understand, even though it's just an anime, you know. It definitely impacts you a sort of way. So definitely a very heavily character-driven anime. It definitely does not lean on the combat. Now, when it comes to combat, we're gonna talk about that in the animation section. Whew. But definitely outside of that, story-wise, character-wise, strong anime, especially when they go to the second nation, and you get introduced to other characters from the other nation, the Federacy, and every time you realize that he starts to make a bond with a certain person, a motherfucker get murdered, get killed, and you're just like, damn, like these kids can't really make bonds with outside people because of what happens, and all they know is fighting, because they've been fighting since they were kids, and the only bonds they have is amongst each other. And then it weighs heavy on Undertaker because it just seems like everyone dies except him, and you start to see that affect him closer to the end of season 2. Brilliant. So that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and give characters a 5 out of 10, 5 out of 5, sorry. I totally enjoyed this shit, man. I thought this was a brilliant thing, characters wise. A lot of introduced characters, a lot of emotions between them, good interactions, talks within the team, even the outside influence between different soldiers and stuff interacting with the 86 group. Strong, man. Definitely enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give that a 5 out of 5. I'm pretty sure if Dwayne was here, he would have given him like a 4 or 3 or something. So, you know. All right. So animation. All right. So any kind of animation, man, this is well drawn. It's definitely not the best drawn anime. You know, when you think about stuff like VV and the girl with the typewriter and stuff that writes letters, but it is very well drawn, and when it comes to combat sequences and shit, it is animated the shit out of it, and it's great, man. Ain't really much I could say, because that's why I like having Dwayne here, because he's the guy that works on animation. He's the animator, and he's able to give his deep thoughts on it. As me, I'm just a layman, man. I work at IT, I fucking fix servers and shit. So when it comes to this, I can't really give you deep thoughts. I can only give you the eye test, and it's beautiful, especially the fight scenes. And there's like high intense fight scenes because you have them animating the mecha jumping between buildings and firing off the fucking cannons and shit, you know. And he has like a blade, he's cutting through, and then you do the slow motion, then you have like the people in the back firing off cannons and stuff, and then like one of the boss is the fucking train, so they had to go to fight that shit, along with the interacting with the character, talking on stuff inside, getting blown up, stuff like that, fight scenes, disabled. It's very beautifully drawn, in my opinion, and well executed. Strong. 23 episodes, never seems to lapse. You don't get no laziness like what they did with Dragon Ball Super, stuff like that. So easy work, guys. I gotta give this a 5 out of 5. Like I can't take it off. The character models and everything are really good. Obviously it's a little crazy because like you have a whole nation with the same color hair, so that's pretty cool. But you know, it's a funny thing because, like, not to pick on Dragon Ball Z, but all the characters have the same head. They just changed the hair. That's why you got like 4 people that look like Bardock. I think outside Broly is probably way off in his father stuff, but like Vegeta, Goku, Gohan, Goten, they all have the same head. You just changed the hair. It's hilarious. But every character is different. Each character is unique. You can see the work they put into each one. Well drawn. The combat sequences well drawn. The emotions, everything well drawn. 5 out of 5 for animation, guys. Definitely worth it, man. If there's anything else about this anime, is you're gonna like it by just looking at it, you know. And there's no like that weird, like, you know, Netflix has that thing where they kind of like toggle between 3D ish and 2D animation and stuff. You don't really see that in here. It's all like that smooth 2D looking. Oh my god, how big is this studio that drew this thing going? And it's really appreciated, especially for a mecha anime, you know. So that being said, man, it's time to jump into overall. Alright, so now you've listened to me ramble for about 20 minutes about this anime. And give 5 out of 5 all across the board. So what more can I say? This was a very strong anime. 23 episodes, and now it's 23 straight. That break between those seasons, the break between the two halves of the anime, it took forever to come back. And then like it got to like episode 20, 21, and then it paused for a while because of like COVID outbreaks and stuff. So I had to wait a few months or something just for the last 2 episodes. But now they're all out and the season's done, so you could just sit and watch it in one go. So between the story being brilliant, the characters strong in this, and then finishing up with some really good animation set pieces, how can I not give this the No Country for Otaku? It's been a while, motherfuckers. 5-star review. Run the fucking clip. Yes, sir. Oh man, it's been a while. I haven't given a 5 out of 5. I had to wait that Dwayne's not here to do it. I'm sorry, Dwayne, but 5 out of 5, guys, for this highly recommended mech anime. If you're looking for some mech that you haven't watched mech in a while, check this out. I think 86 is definitely worth it. For mech / drama, because it moves a little slow. Because like I said, it's more focusing on the characters per se more than the fighting. So there's like parts that there's a few episodes that you're like, man, they're not doing any combat. And then you get a combat set piece, it's just like, yeah, baby. You know? Does pull on the heartstrings just a little bit, nothing to make you cry. But you know, it's a little sorrowful because you realize that these kids going through the ringer, man. Even when they go off on their own away from the Republic stuff, you realize, man, these kids truly alone, and they're definitely older. Obviously, war grows you up, especially if you're a child soldier. So yes, sir. All right, so that thing, we're gonna go ahead and jump into shoot the shit. It's gonna be pretty short. I don't really got much to talk about on shoot the shit, but let's go ahead and jump in there. Pretty much this week I haven't watched much movies. What I have done is I started a wagon wheel and I've been spinning it to pick movies from my list. My list has gotten ridiculously long of movies I want to watch. But what I did watch was Prey, that came out on Hulu, and I guarantee it's a Predator movie, and to me it's probably one of the best Predator movies since the first one. Definitely worth it, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you see it. It's on Hulu. It went straight to TV. It went straight to streaming service. So be sure to check that out, man. It's fire. It's fire, man. Them indigenous movie actors did their thing, man. It was beautiful, man. Fighting between the main star, I think there's Thunderwind, I can't remember, Nura, and the Predator was great. What her story is, I ain't gonna try to give it in throughout what caused her to go out to try to, you know, find the Predator or find what it was, because she didn't know what it was. fun what it was. That build up is straight. The relationship with her and her brother, you realize how good that was. And overall, great story, great payoff, great lead up, everything, man. I reviewed it on my TikTok. I do like movie reviews on TikTok, and I get that bad boy 9 out of 10, man. It's fucking fire, and I think it's getting great reviews. Kind of wish it came out in theaters, but I understand why. Nope, watched Nope in theaters as well. I watched that in theaters, and that was a really good movie. I guess everyone was expecting it to be like super horror, but it kind of was like a thriller monster flick if you really think about it. I'm gonna leave it at that. Be sure to check that out. That was really good. What else did I watch? I haven't seen Bullet Train yet. I'm gonna watch that tomorrow. I'm gonna watch that sometime this week. I think that as for movies, I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing is Luck, which is an animation that's coming out. Definitely looking forward to seeing that. But outside of that, and some movies that I watched on my wagon wheel, which has been like pretty hit or miss. That's pretty much it for the movies. But definitely catch Prey and Nope. Those two are definitely worth it. She-Hulk comes out later this month, so looking forward to see that as they slowly get the Hulk out the MCU. It is what it is. Definitely wanted something different from that character, but you know, Universal and Disney and stuff, they got their thing going on. Then the news about DC pulling the Batgirl, HBO Max, and then they had, I guess I've seen some news about they had like a conference call and stuff like that, and the stuff that coming out of there, and what they want to do big budget movies, and they got this 10-year plan and yada yada yada. Look, man, I have DC Infinite, which is the comic book service. Go on there, read any DC comics that just came out. I've been reading, it's not Wonder Woman, but it's Nubia, which is the Queen of Themyscira after Wonder Woman's mom. So that's been pretty good. It's 6 issues. Future State, I've been checking out those. So the comics are good. As of right now, the comics are good. WB and the TV shows, on movies, I don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. They just did Peacemaker, which was really good. They, for some reason, canceled the movie for Batgirl, which is funny because like Michael Keaton and all them were supposed to be in there, and they supposed to be like a tax write-off, so we're probably never going to see that fucking movie. And you know, Flash, the guy who plays Flash, he off in the cult in Iceland and shit. I don't know. But I think my love for the DCEU kind of died after Zack Snyder's it kind of died after Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then all the truth came out how they were treating the guy that played oh man, the guy that played, what the hell? Cyborg, the guy that plays Cyborg, sorry. Yeah, so how they treated him and stuff, and how Zack Snyder had planned, and when you actually see the movie and realize that Cyborg was a pivotal actor in that entire movie, and what they did with the Joss Whedon version, and then how much different the story was, and a lot of the stuff they left on tape. And the Zack Snyder version wasn't perfect. You know, there was some stuff that you probably could have cut just a little bit, but it was a beautiful film. And you know, so after that, and then now they don't know what they want to do. They keep talking about Henry Cavill coming back, not coming back. There's a Black Adam movie coming out. It's just, I don't know. Why I was excited, and I keep saying this every time we do this podcast, is the reason I was excited about the DC movies, because one, Zack Snyder is my favorite director, but The reason I was glad it was dark and gritty is because it was different than Marvel. Marvel had the light, still had the adult themes, but it was a little lighter. It had the jokes, so it was something different. And everybody keep trying to do that instead of doing their own thing. That's why I always get mad at Universal that keeps trying to launch the Monster Universe and then quit after one movie. By the end of the day, man, it's about them dollars. This guy that taking over WB apparently, I don't know, white supremacist dude fired all the people, laid off 70% of the people that work that do the HBO Max stuff. So they're probably gonna get rid of that platform, I assume. And you know, hire a bunch of directors that all white male, stuff like that. So I don't know what the TV's doing, but as far as the books, most of them really good stories. Superman's been good, all that stuff. So I'm gonna just take my DC fix where I can. I think I've lost the hype train for like superhero movies. That's all. Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching them as long as that motherfucker got a cape. I'm in there. But as far as getting hype, there's other movies out there for me to consume, right? Alright, so that being said, hopefully we're back next week. Next episode, Dwayne will be back, and we have anime that he wants to check out. Let's see, he Mizo Forte came out in 2000. There we go. So definitely gonna check that out. We're gonna check that out. And that will probably be the next episode. We was gonna do Fooly Cooly, but I don't want to watch the anime again, man. I've watched Fooly Cooly before. It was alright, but I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't know. I just don't have the drive for that. But we'll see. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, guys. You know, come on here and we ramble. We have fun. Sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Is there any anime you recommend that we check out to talk about? Stuff like that. Sure to catch the gaming content. I will be dropping more gaming content starting back this week. I took a little 2-week break. Really wasn't in the mood to editing or playing games that much. But I did start playing RimWorld, so I'll probably do a small struggle series with that. I've been getting my ass whooped in that game. But other than that, guys, stay safe out there. Peace.